This week brought a mix of polish and experimentation. The newly updated Selkirk LUXX Control Air Invicta 2.0 landed with a more refined feel, while the all-foam Selkirk Labs Project 008 paddles and Franklin's new C45 Elongated 14 and 16mm models showed up with edge, pop, and very different personalities. Welcome to episode 10 of Paddle of the Week. Each of these paddles got serious time, drills, match play, league nights. I tested for feel, performance under pressure, spin, speed, and whether they actually deliver what their marketing promises. As always, if one of them clearly earns it, I'll name it Paddle of the Week. If nothing does, I'll tell you that too. Sometimes nothing stands out, and in most cases, it's just me, but if it's here, it's interesting. And if you haven't seen this series before, here's the deal. I test paddles the way they're actually played, across drills, play, and real points, and in my own words, I tell you how they perform. Just analysis that matters when you're trying to make a decision, and I hope it helps. Before we get into the paddles, quick reminder. If you're trying to find the right paddle for your game, check out the paddle finder at matspickleball.com. There are over 225 paddles in the system right now, and it gives personalized recommendations based on what's important to you, not just what's popular. You can also filter by all of the paddle details like power, pop, spin, swing, twist, and static weight, and so much more. If the results aren't quite dialed in, or you want a second opinion, just shoot me a DM on Instagram, an email, or drop into my Discord. I'm always up for helping people find what actually fits their game. You can also sign up for the newsletter while you're on the site. Early drops, performance data, and paddle notes I don't always post publicly. And if you want quicker takes or behind-the-scenes impressions, follow me on Instagram at matspickleball. That's where most of the early thoughts land. You can find all of the links in the description. Also, shout out to this episode's sponsor, Bodhi Pickleball. If you haven't tried their overgrips, speed caps, or tungsten tape yet, they make some of the best paddle accessories out there. Everything they make is built to help you fine-tune your setup. You can use code MPB at checkout to save 15% and support this channel. First up is the newly updated Selkirk LUXX Control Air Invicta 2.0. That's a mouthful. At a glance, it may look nearly identical to the original LUXX, but spend time with it and the refinements start to show. This is Selkirk's newest generation of their control-focused design, and it's easily the most polished and composed version to date. The surface features Selkirk's new Infinigrit texture, a peel-ply carbon finish that doesn't feel aggressively gritty to the touch, but plays like a high-end raw carbon fiber paddle. During testing, spin clocked in at 2,261 RPM, putting it in the 78th percentile. It's not quite elite, but firmly in the top tier. The surface grabs well without holding too long, and notably, it doesn't wear down quickly like some textured coatings do after long sessions. But only time will tell how this surface holds up. There's also a subtle but meaningful design tweak to the paddle's hole pattern. Selkirk reduced the air channel size, reverting to the same smaller 19mm hole design used in the 003 and 007 series. According to Selkirk, this is not just aesthetic. This change tightens up the acoustic profile and flex feedback. The paddle sounds quieter, feels more composed, and has virtually no vibration on contact. If the original LUXX or Power Air felt too ringy or loud for you, this update directly addresses that. But if you rely on audible feedback for timing, the muted sound might take some getting used to. The paddle I tested came in at 8.01 ounces with a swing weight of 116.45, twist weight of 5.85, and a balance point of 24.7 centimeters. That puts it slightly head biased, not heavy, but with enough forward mass to feel solid on contact. You'll notice this most during drives and resets. It doesn't whip around like an ultralight paddle, but it feels deliberate, which contributes to its strong stability on blocks, dinks, and resets. You don't have to muscle it, it helps guide the ball low and clean through the shot line. Power and pop are where the LUXX 2.0 clearly leans towards control. Serve speed tested at 52.3 miles per hour and punch volley speed at 34.1 miles per hour, both placing it in the bottom few percentiles. That's not a flaw, it's by design. This paddle isn't meant to give you free power. It's meant to give you feedback, stability, control, and precision in the reset game and soft exchanges. The feel on contact is plush but structured. There's slight dwell, enough to shape or redirect, but not so much that it muddies the response. It doesn't feel hollow or pingy like some Gen 3 paddles. There's no echo or harshness. You feel the ball settle, then release in a very composed way. It's built for players who want to guide the ball, not rip it. The handle remains 5.5 inches long with a 4.25-inch circumference, consistent with other Selkirk models. It supports two-handed backhands reasonably well, though I found the shape a bit awkward when indexing my finger on the back during a two-hander. My only nitpick is the squared-off butt cap. It's similar to the one on the 008 series and tends to dig into the heel of your palm during certain grip pressures. That might not bother everyone, but it did bother me. Overall, this is a quieter, more composed evolution of the original LUXX. It's stable, precise, and built for players who thrive in the reset and control game. The aesthetic is classic Selkirk, premium and distinctive, but this isn't a paddle that overwhelms opponents with raw speed or spin. It wins by helping you absorb pace, stay in points, and wait for the right moment to counter. The retail price is $250, and if you want to pick one up, you can use code INF-MPB to support this channel. If you've spent time with the LUXX 2.0 or its predecessor, drop a comment and let me know how it compares, or ask any questions you've got. Next up is the Selkirk Labs Project 008 series, and this is the first time Selkirk has stepped fully into foam core paddle design. These are not hybrids. They don't have polypropylene honeycomb cores. They're built entirely around what Selkirk calls their pure foam core, a high-density EVA foam engineered to resist crushing, reduce vibration, and hold its performance longer than Gen 3 polymer builds. The two paddles I tested this week are the 16mm Maxima and the 16mm Invikta. Same materials, same construction, but different shapes, different swing dynamics, and different play styles. The Maxima is Selkirk's new wide-body control shape. It swings light, comes around fast, and favors players who prioritize resets, spin, and maneuverability. The Invicta gives you more stability and depth when you're hitting from behind the baseline, especially when you're under pressure. Both paddles use a raw T700 carbon fiber face. No surface coating, just a naturally textured finish that, along with dwell, grabs the ball extremely well, and spin numbers back that up. The Maxima clocked in at 2,299 RPM, which puts it in the 89th percentile. The Invicta hit 2,291 RPM, just behind it in the 87th percentile. And the spin is accessible. You don't need long, winding strokes to shape the ball. Short takebacks, rolls, dinks, it's easy to generate rotation, especially on quick flicks and third shot drops. The core is where the build starts to stand out. It plays soft, but not dead. You get dwell time, yes, but you still feel connected to contact. The Maxima has a slightly springier, plush feel that cradles the ball on resets and gives you more margin for error. The Invicta plays firmer, quieter on impact, and more linear off the face. It's better for players who want to drive through the ball with structure and stability. In terms of raw power, neither of these paddles is going to blast balls through the court, but they do have enough to finish points when you accelerate. The Maxima came in at 55 miles per hour on serve and 36.1 on punch volleys. The Invicta hit 55.9 on serve and 35.7 on punch volleys. That puts them in the moderate range, 37th percentile for serve speed on the Maxima, and about 33rd on pop for the Invicta. But keep in mind, that's by design. These paddles aren't about raw output, they're about control and spin. Weight-wise, both paddles came in just under 8.1 ounces stock. The Maxima has a swing weight of 106.5, which makes it one of the easiest paddles to maneuver. The Invicta comes in at 115.4, so heavier with more plow-through and stability on full strokes. The twist weights are 6.4 for the Maxima and 5.9 for the Invicta. These paddles are designed to reduce vibration and keep the paddle stable without adding too much mass. Compared to other foam core paddles, the Project 008 Maxima and Invicta carve out a distinct middle ground. The Carbon True Foam Genesis 2 plays stiffer and delivers more pop and power on contact, but these 008 16mm builds are more forgiving and offer a noticeably softer, more composed feel. On the other hand, the 14mm Diadem Warrior Blue core is denser and punchier. It brings more pop on clean hits, but feels firmer and less forgiving on touch shots or off-center contact. The 008 series splits that difference. It's quieter than the Blue Core, softer than the Carbon, and delivers a linear, balanced response that feels connected but controlled. Together, the Maxima and Invikta strike a strong balance, speed and spin without losing structure or predictability under pressure. The handle on both is 5.5 inches long with a 4.25-inch circumference, using an octagonal shape that feels more secure in hand and gives you better grip feedback during quick adjustments. It's an improvement over Selkirk's earlier rounder handles, especially if you're playing two-handed backhands or switching your grips frequently. What really stood out during testing is how quiet these paddles are, especially compared to traditional thermoformed honeycomb builds. There's almost no vibration, resets feel soft, drops come in clean, and blocks hold their line. If you play a point building game, if you rely on consistency spin or well-placed resets, these paddles help you stay in control and shape the point on your terms. That said, I have a strong recommendation for Selkirk. Make a 10mm version of the Maxima. With that same wide body shape, a thinner foam core could produce a paddle that's even faster in hand, with a lower swing weight, higher pop, and improved twist weight. If they can pull it off without sacrificing too much control and get approval, it could be one of the most dangerous hand speed paddles on the market. I genuinely think it could be a standout performer for counterplay, speed ups, and reactive defense. But all in, the Project 008 line is a real evolution. This isn't just Selkirk trying to keep up with all the other paddles out there. This is them carving out a different path. The pure foam core holds its structure, eliminates unwanted vibration, and brings a new type of responsiveness to the table. You can customize the swing weight with tungsten. You can trust the spin numbers, and you're not stuck with a build that starts hot and breaks down 2 months later. If you want quiet, composed control that gives you enough output to stay aggressive, this is one of the more dialed-in foam core builds on the market right now. The retail price is $288. Yup, premium tier category. And if you want to grab one, you can use my code INF-NPB to support this channel and get a gift card from Selkirk. If you've already tried one, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Or if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. Next up are two new shapes from Franklin that expand their C45 lineup, both elongated, both thermoformed, and both set to launch officially in June. These are the 14 and 16mm C45 Dynasty Elongated paddles, joining the hybrid 14mm model that dropped earlier this year. Alongside these two, Franklin is also releasing standard shaped tempo models in both 14 and 16mm. But for now, we're going to focus on the Dynasty shape, the elongated option that offers much more reach, more drive potential, and a different swing profile. Franklin is aiming squarely at the Gen 3 performance space with these new builds. And while the hybrid 14mm made the first impression, this is where the lineup starts to feel more complete. Both the 14 and 16 elongated versions use a polypropylene honeycomb core reinforced by a dual foam perimeter system. That includes two precisely CNC routed foam channels, an inner EVA layer, and an outer polyurethane layer that surround the core and are sealed inside the frame using Franklin's dual-stage thermoforming process. It's a unique take on Gen 3 construction, designed to prevent the crushing and breakdown issues that have plagued other thermoformed paddles over time. The face on both paddles is a raw T700 carbon fiber with a coarse peel-ply texture. Spin numbers reflect that. The 14 comes in at 2,269 RPM, while the 16 lands at 2,245, both placing firmly in the upper tier for RPM generation. Directional control is excellent, especially on topspin rolls, flicks, and counters. The surface is designed not to degrade easily, and it's durable enough for extended periods of play over extended periods of time without losing traction. The 14mm build is stiffer and more aggressive. It hits 56.5 miles per hour on serve and 36.9 on punch volleys, with a firepower score of 69. The 16 is a bit more balanced, with 56.9 on serve and 36.4 on volleys, with a firepower score of 67. Both paddles sit in the power category, but they feel different on court. The 14 plays fast, snappy, and decisive. It's built for players who like to take time away from their opponent and attack off both wings. The 16 has more absorption and is a steadier feel, making it better for all-court styles and longer exchanges. Both paddles share the same dimensions, 16.5 inches long, 7.5 inches wide with a 5.75-inch handle and a 4.25-inch circumference. The swing weight on the 14 is 118.1 with a static weight of 7.9. The 16 is nearly identical with 117.75 swing weight and 7.91 ounces static. Balance points are slightly different, 24.5 centimeters on the 14 and 24.3 on the 16, but in hand, both feel neutral to head biased. The twist weight is the same at 6.05. On contact, the 14 delivers a crisp, punchy response. The ball gets off the face quickly, especially when you're accelerating through it. It's fast, directional, and rewards clean contact with immediate feedback. The 16 plays more composed. It still rebounds well, but adds just enough hold to let you shape shots or redirect pace without feeling overly soft. There's no plush sink, but it gives you a fraction more control in transition. In terms of feel and playability, both paddles land closer to the Yola Perseus Pro 4 14mm than they do the 16mm version. You don't get the muted plush hold that defines the Perseus 16mm, which absorbs the ball more and softens contact across the face. The 14mm C45 is crisper and livelier. It almost wants to release the ball faster. The 16mm C45 strikes a middle ground, but it still plays stiff, firmer than the Perseus 16mm, but more controlled than the 14mm. If you've played both Perseus Pro 4 models and wish the 14mm had a bigger sweet spot or the 16mm had a little more energy, the C45 Dynasty paddles split that gap well. They won't hide your mishits the way softer builds sometimes do, but they do give you a more honest feel and plenty of shape when you find the center. Compared to the original C45 hybrid 14mm, the Dynasty paddles feel more refined and stable. You get a stronger sense of impact, better stability across the face, and more extension on blocks, counters, and drives, thanks to the elongated shape. The added length isn't just about reach. It gives you a different kind of leverage and follow-through, especially when redirecting pace or hitting through the ball. When the pace ramps up, both paddles hold their own. The 14 feels more explosive in hand battles and quick exchanges. It reacts fast and drives clean. The 16 gives you more cushion than the 14 for resets and better predictability on softer shots like blocks and drops. Neither feels sluggish, but the 16's extra dwell can help if you like to shape points and absorb pressure before flipping the script. Both paddles are suited for intermediate to advanced players, think 3.8 and up, who understand how to manage tempo and take advantage of feel-based shot making. The 14 is for players who want to be first to speed up and are looking for something quick, direct, and aggressive. The 16 fits all court players who want some added margin in the reset game while still being able to finish when the opening is there. I haven't tested lead or throat weight yet, just stock with an overgrip, but even out of the box, both feel pretty good. The retail price is $229, and if you want to grab one when they launch in June, use code MPB to save at checkout. And if you're deciding between these or have questions on weighting or shape or setup or anything else, let me know in the comments. All right, now let's talk about the paddle of the week. And for the second week in a row, I'm not naming a paddle of the week. And it's not because this gear was underwhelming, actually far from it. The LUXX 2.0 is the cleanest, quietest LUXX yet. The C45 Dynasty paddles from Franklin are clearly a step forward, and the Project 008 series from Selkirk is one of the more interesting foam core builds I've played. All of these paddles I will continue to play to refine my assessment, but none of them quite hit that point where I knew immediately, that's it. This just feels it. It's good. It's the paddle of the week. That said, the 008 Invicta was the closest. It's composed, deliberate, and borderline addictive if you like to work the ball and control tempo, but you have to like a muted feel. I've already kept it in my bag this week, and it's firmly in the mix for the next episode. It's the one paddle here I keep wanting to go back to, not because I'm unsure, but because I'm not done unlocking it yet, so stay tuned. Now, that's also not to say that the C45s are mediocre, far from it, but it does mean I need more time with them to figure them out, and more time they will get in the coming weeks. So that's it, guys. That's the paddle of the week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.